Welcome back to another video in this series with this formerly Epiphone Les Paul that has now just become something completely different. So this is going to be our final review.
Our Frankenstein Epiphone.
in this Les Paul series. So first of all, let's recap what we did. In the last video, the last video in this series, we didn't do much. We'll talk about who did it. The last video in this series was me unboxing this thing and just talking about it. There are a few things that 920D sent that I didn't talk about, but here's the story. I bought this Epiphone Les Paul Gold Top used for about $300, which is what you can get an Epiphone for. Les Paul, it's a standard. The idea with this thing was to demo these pickups. So this will be a demo of these Lambertones Crema pickups, and we love them. Too long didn't read version. They're awesome. Get some.
Yes.
Okay. And then I wanted to put a Bigsby on it because I just like Bigsby's on Les Pauls. And so through the process, I connected with this company called 920D Custom. They are just a company that you can send them your guitar and they will upfit it and do all kinds of stuff. Anything from just a basic setup to custom,
to tricking out your
custom
guitar.
art, like custom branding work that they do, so what they did was they installed the Bigsby. What they told me they were going to do was install the Bigsby with a Vibramate, install the pickups, and put new wiring in. That's all they said they were going to do. They said we want to put hip shot locking tuners in, which will help with tuning stability, although the Grover tuners that come on these things stock are pretty good tuners. So they didn't want to do hip shot locking tuners, and they said, we're going to do some cosmetic upgrades that'll be a surprise to you. And so when I opened the box, you saw it in the unboxing, they put a custom Worship Tutorials logo here. They put my name here, and then they put another Worship Tutorials logo here, and then this is their logo, 920D Custom. All the way through. Super clean wiring. Everything looks great. Oh, and they did a different, these are called poker chips right here. These things on a Les Paul. That's what they call them.
And this switch is a lot nicer.
The switch is new. The output jack is new.
These are new.
Knobs are new.
Knobbies.
They actually installed this Vibramate. I forget what this is called. They have it right here. This is the list of what they did. That is called a Vibramate string spoiler. So if you've ever put new strings on a Bigsby,
you've probably only done it once and
you got to bend them, and so this thing makes the process a lot easier. Yeah, so everything else, that's all they did. And they also threw in two extra things that I had no idea were coming. This cable, which matches the guitar. It's actually a yellow cable with a brown mesh exterior on it. Mm-hmm. Really cool. It makes it look gold. Yeah. So it matches the gold top. Really high-end connection. Silent. Did you
not hear that?
There was no kakunch, right?
So there's a little ring here. You push it down. When it connects with the guitar.
Ooh, now that's
so
pro.
You can switch
that
guitars.
That is pro.
Which is really good for acoustic players, because
that's
another thing.
And they also sent this strap, which has the 920D Custom logo. You probably can't really see that. And the Worship Tutorials logo. I like that it's real subtle.
Nice strap,
like that.
too.
This is a leather strap. Really nice. Like padded.
I want one.
920D. Bradford wants one of these straps, first of all. Thank you. And any of you, if you want work done on your guitar, I cannot recommend them highly enough. It was done. I got it. It was done within a week. You might have to pay for expedited shipping if you want that, but they turned this thing around within a week. So I can't say enough good things about. And the work, the level of work that they did was just top notch. This guitar feels Complete. Now we're going to start talking about the difference between this guitar as it is now versus its
What
stock.
it was, yeah.
It feels like a completely different guitar, and it sounds
It does.
very much like a completely different guitar. Let's talk about the pickups. First thing we'll do is play you some before and after samples. So we have exactly the same profile on our Kemper that we used for the stock demo, and you're going to hear the same playing now with the Lambertones Crema pickups.
Humbuckers that often, so I couldn't tell you if what we were experiencing before, how far off that was from like what a Les Paul normally sounds like. I don't know. I would imagine if you paid good money
The
for
stock
a real
version?
one, yeah,
It was like a muddy version
Yeah,
of a Les Paul, which I think is what most people would say the Epiphone sounds like.
yeah,
Right?
and I wasn't into it. I couldn't make it happen. Now, granted, these pickups are highly tweaked to give you different sounds than just Les Paul pickups.
They're meant to sound more like a single coil almost than a humbucker.
And they got that, but they have like this punch that a single coil doesn't. They have this bigness that a single coil doesn't.
Little low mid range kind of a thing. Yeah.
So they're super clear. Mm-hmm. They don't rip. Like you don't go from like 0 to 60 in like 0.2. Mm-hmm. They got a little more dynamic range.
Yes.
If you wanna get something huge out of them, I mean, you absolutely can.
So if you go to the Lambertones website, which we will link below, that's where you can purchase a set of these, but you can also read about sort of the idea behind them. He made them and voiced them to sound like a single coil almost, with just a little more beef. And that
Success. Great success.
Yes. And the reason is because that has become really popular in praise and worship circles. Mm-hmm. You've got people who play for like Bethel Music, for example, the Veritas Portlanders. They have humbuckers in them, but they're really low output, really high clarity humbuckers. So they almost sound more like a single coil. He nailed it with this.
Yeah.
I really like these. It reminds me a lot. There's a Suhr Alt T back there. You know what we should do, Brad? We should do a little. I'll play something on the Alt T, and you play something on this, and we'll see how they sound. They remind me of those, but a little less output. Those are the Thornbuckers in the Alt T. All right, so Brad's gonna play chord progression on the Les Paul, and then I'm gonna play it on the Suhr, and you can kind of compare the two pickups. Now you know obviously these are way different guitars.
Lots of different variables here.
Different scale lengths, different woods, different bridges, different semi-hollow versus solid.
Virtually everything's different.
A lot of difference, but here we go. This is you can hear them back to back. I'd say personally what I heard is the Cremas are lower output.
Yeah, you can. I think it's pretty obvious.
Immediately, this just hit the amp a little harder. And so this acted a little more like a single coil, like what you would expect a single coil to.
True.
But the tone was really similar. If that makes sense. So what you're going to get with these is something that's like, if you're familiar with what the Thornbucker sounds like. And the reason we picked this is, well, I guess it's one of the only dual humbucker guitars in the room. And a lot of people have
There's
actually...
a lot of tellies in here.
Yeah, a lot of Telecasters in here. A lot of people have asked us how they compare to the Thornbuckers. Because I think this guitar is very highly regarded, especially in this style of music, these pickups. So, I think that these little lower output, a little more clarity. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. They both sound great. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't really say which one I favor more because they're different things. So like Suhr's got a high reputation and people, a big reputation.
Yeah.
People know what that is, and I know it's real easy for everybody to just want to jump on the train that everybody else is on.
The
so
Suhr train.
yeah,
It's not a bad one to be on.
not a bad one to be on.
No.
But I would say that Curtis and the Lambertone team is they're not falling behind.
No. They're upgrading it, updating it, moving forward. It's going to be a $2,800 guitar. Like, it's not cheap. But you can take, and this is what he talks about on his site, you can take a cheaper guitar, like an Epiphone, or a Squire, or whatever you want, and then put these pickups in it and get the same tone out of them. Or a similarly high-end tone out of it. I actually think, as a guy I have a lot of single coil guitars, a lot of Telecasters, right? And I think if you're a player who likes single coils but wants a humbucker, if you pick a high output humbucker and run it into your rig that's set up for single coils, you're gonna have to change everything.
You're probably gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, unless you start tweaking stuff. But I think if you would add a guitar with these pickups into that mix, you would get what you want out of the humbucker, and your rig wouldn't have to change much. I think that would be a really cool compromise. A lot of times people will take a pedal that is meant for either their single coil or their humbucker guitar and turn it on and off to compensate for the different guitars.
Yeah.
Like the EP booster
RC
booster.
Well, really anything. EP booster, RC booster. People use the Prism, the Jackson. Anything that anybody likes. They use pedals sometimes just to alter
that you can either up or down the gain and change the EQ a bit to compensate. But with these pickups, you probably wouldn't have to do that.
No.
Like you could just interchange a single coil and humbucker guitar this way. Let's talk about maybe philosophically doing this to a guitar that costs $300 used. Because we've had a lot of questions as we've posted about this on Facebook and stuff. Like, okay, how much did all this stuff cost that you put into it, and why, right? Yeah. So if you want just a rundown, the pickups themselves are $300 from Lambertones. The Bigsby and the Vibromate you can get for $180, $200. The wiring harness you can get for about $50, depending on where you get it. I'm not actually sure what 920D charges for that, but you could get in touch with them. The switch and the output jack are not that expensive if you do it yourself, and the tuners are probably $50-$60. Yeah. So we figured it up. You're looking at like $600 of stuff on this guitar. That doesn't include labor to put it in. So if you're not going to do it yourself, you're going to pay probably another $100 or so to get that all installed. So now you're doubling the cost of the guitar in add-ons.
Just in add-ons. Yeah.
Is it worth it is the question.
Yeah.
So it's like an age-old question with these things. Is it worth it to buy a cheaper guitar and just upgrade everything? Or just buy a Gibson?
Yeah.
If you want Les Paul.
I think it all depends on what you think of the guitar initially. It all depends on your philosophy. It all depends on, like, do you like the guts of the guitar? Like, the bare bone essentials, the things you can't change.
Yeah.
Aesthetic, like, we can't change the headstock.
It doesn't even matter with that Epiphone headstock.
It doesn't even matter to me that it says Epiphone. It's just the shape of it. I'm not really...
The shape is not. Epiphone,
it's just weird.
It's not good.
But it depends on what you're doing. Like, if you're going to slowly but surely just chuck some money at it for, over like a year's time to slowly upgrade a guitar. This is the line we used. I hated this guitar before we sent it.
Yeah.
And now I hate how much I love this guitar. That was good, bro.
But
I can't believe what this is, like, what this does right now.
Feel like you wouldn't think it, because we didn't change the shape of the neck. Mm-hmm. We didn't change the frets. Now, I did do a full setup on this guitar.
And fret dressing, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and I did
so much better.
I did file and smooth off the edges of the frets. And for the setup, I just followed the setup guide that you can get at Worship Tutorials. But it does feel, I don't know what it is about it. The look of it has, when you put a Bigsby on a Les Paul, it takes it from like classic rock to indie rock.
And I didn't think I would like it. I'd be like, I hate when people put Bigsby's on guitars that aren't supposed to have it. But I saw this thing.
They're cool.
I'm convinced I probably just need to get a replica of this. I just need the exact same thing. Can I get a Brian Wall special, please?
So, but it feels better. Like, it feels different. I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, like, the tuners, the Bigsby, all change, but this is actually the stock bridge.
That's the stock bridge, yeah.
So, like, that's the thing a lot of people change, and we talked about this. We may want to change the nut.
Yeah, the nut is still stock. It's a plastic nut.
Yeah.
And we were fighting a little bit of tuning issues. It's stable for the most part, but then it'll kind of like, I don't know, if something catches somewhere.
We're playing this a lot, and I'm using this a lot just because I'm doing stuff just because it's fun.
We're doing a lot of tremolo-lowing.
So just because it's here.
I think this, as it is right now, is like as nice as any $1,000 guitar I've ever played.
Yeah,
or nicer.
If you're looking to spend $1,000 on a guitar, what we just did here and what 920 did and Lambertone and all of us, everything everybody did together is a real nice effort to get a guitar that feels way more than it's worth.
Yeah. So another thing that like I kind of came away from this video series is, you might, if you have a guitar like this you want to upgrade, you might not do all this stuff, but you might want to do one or two of these things. This is where I would start. Pickups would be the absolute first thing I'd do.
Yeah.
Pickups, especially if you have an Epiphone Les Paul, I probably wouldn't touch the tuners. They're pretty good. I would change the pickups, and then the Bigsby is like, if you want it.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only way to. I would do the Vibromate. So there you have it. How you upgrade a Les Paul, aka how to make Bradford Mitchell actually like a Les Paul. Success on all accounts. Thanks for watching. See you next time.